How you doing? You right?
Good. Right, let me just... Do you know, last time, or last one that we done this, it was a couple of weeks ago, and I had James Burt on. You've met James, haven't you?
Yeah,
the podcast guy. And one thing that when I was doing like I don't use the word editing of the video, but just like cutting out the bit where at the end I was eating my sandwich because I'd forgotten to press stop. And I realised how close up I sit to the screen. And so I then started looking back at all of the previous video recordings and realised that I just look like I've got a giant face because I sit like this.
Were you like that or something?
Yeah. So you'll notice today I'm actually sat in our
we're going to talk about framing shots as well. You know what I mean?
So I've taken note after last week, and I'm sat. We have like a Teams room or Zoom room. It used to be called in lockdown, where we've got like the nice background and we've got like studio lights and things. So I thought, oh, actually, I'm going to utilise this today, and so hence why I'm not quite so. You'll see though, because I'm so blind, even though I've got contact lenses in, that if there are parts where I need to read stuff, I'll still be really. So I apologise to everybody who's been going to these and having to look at my giant face for the last few months.
Well, I must say you've actually framed it really, really well right now. Yeah,
I'm impressed with how well I've done with this, I'll be honest. I did order as well, following on from the podcast one with James. I ordered a microphone, a USB microphone, and a new webcam because one of my cameras all right, on my laptop's okay, but I did kind of take a few like really good things he said about in that.
Is this the new webcam? Is this the new camera you use?
No, it didn't arrive. Not right this time. So even though you've got a bit more of me today, maybe next time I'll be in like HD. Can I put a soft focus thing on it though? If I do.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some filters that I can stick on in.
Okay, enough about me and my giant face. So it's 3 minutes past, and so we will make a bit of a start. So let me just go to, and I promise it isn't death by PowerPoint, but there's just a couple of like little slides that will just help us kind of talk about who we are and what we do. Present. Oh. Not playing with me today, is it? Look, it doesn't want to be my friend. Here we go. Okay, so welcome everybody to the latest webinar. As I mentioned today, I'm really lucky to be joined by Neil Kemp from 432 Videos.
432 Films.
Sorry, that's my bad. 432 Films. Do you know what? In my head, I even have written it down, and I think it's because I think of like I was going to say Blockbuster Video. So I really am showing my age.
It happens a lot. Don't worry.
Yeah. So we will be talking about videos, production. Neil is a brilliant video producer. Works with lots of recruiters. Worked with quite a few of our clients that we've worked with over the years to produce some fantastic videos, and guides a lot of people on content and like what videos would be best to do. But today in particular we're going to touch on that, but we're also going to touch on just some practical skills. Anyone that's been to our webinars before will know I like to try and keep it quite practical, so you get something and you walk away with something that you can implement in your business, and or you can contact the person who has come on to kind of talk about that expert. So let's just go through. So just to give you a bit of background about me, if you didn't already know, I'm Katie Horn. I'm a fractional marketing director, and I work for Your Marketing Needs. I've been doing marketing for 25 plus years now, specialising in recruitment for the last 8, and we work with all different recruiters of size and industry, and different types of recruiters as well, from contingent, contract, through to perm and SOW specialists. So a lot of what we do is go in and we help people work on like the strategy for them to have effective marketing that delivers. So that's a bit of a background on me. But today, my special guest, I love this picture of you, Neil, because I think it makes you look like you're in Careless Whispers video.
Careless Whisper. What?
So I'm really pleased today to be joined by our video pro, Neil. So Neil, did you want to kind of introduce yourself? I feel like I've done a little bit of it. Sorry, stole your thunder.
That's all right. That's all right. Thank you so much for having me today, Katie. It's a real pleasure to join you on this webinar. Yeah, my name's Neil Kemp. I'm the director of 432 Films, and this business currently services businesses with quality video content. In particular, I service the recruitment industry mainly. I've been doing that for the last 5 years. Been a filmmaker for the last 20 plus years, and yeah, I'm always excited to work with new people.
Just in general.
Just in general, yeah, I like meeting new people, especially recruiters.
Yeah,
they always seem to be. It always seems to be a fun day when we go and film with any recruitment.
yeah. I think that's you as well, Neil, though. I think obviously I know Neil. I've worked together over a number of years, and I do think that you do bring a certain amount of energy and buzz when you come in as well. And people are excited because it's an investment, isn't it, that they're making into like their brand and coming up with ideas. And as much as people get nervous, I think you can be quite what's the word, reassuring when someone's trying to kind of get in front of the video, because it is hard for a lot of people to kind of do that. Okay, so we wrote some questions out in advance to kind of have a bit of a guide to go through, but we probably will steer off in directions as we go through. Just a reminder to everyone, there is the Q&A bar at the top. So if you want to, throughout us discussing things, feel free to add your questions to the Q&A and or in the chat. And then when we get to that portion at the end, Neil and I, if it's relevant, will be able to kind of give you guys some honest feedback. And there's no question that can't be asked about videos, I should say.
Within reason.
But not, no stupid questions is probably the right thing to say. I've already kind of had a little pre-session with Neil about this today, and I think I asked about 1 million questions. So it'll be good to kind of get this down. Okay, so I'm going to start on video types, because I guess this is probably a question that you get asked all the time. Somebody decides that they want to use video to kind of push their brand out or kind of publicize what they're doing, but it's kind of like, where do you start? So do you think that there are kind of must-have videos for a recruiter to begin this journey? What would you say are like the basics?
The basics, yeah. First and foremost, it's got to be an about us video, a video that, I don't know, showcases the company's values, the work environment, the culture. And what this does, it provides candidates with insights into what it's like to work for the organization, fostering transparency and helping candidates determine if they align with the company's ethos. And the content could include interviews with employees, footage of the workplace, snippets of company events, team building activities, and highlighting the company's mission, vision, and core values. That's the main aspect of an about us video, getting to the real core juice of what the company is, because ultimately you're selling yourself, and people need to buy into it, so they need to see the faces behind it as well. Yeah,
I think you're so right. Like, we've talked about this on the previous webinars around, people ultimately buy from people still, don't they? And so I do, I think that is definitely right. And in terms of the about us, do you think it's that they need almost like two separate ones? Because if you're thinking about using this about us, there might be two reasons for having it. So obviously you've got that internal piece of trying to attract consultants. But then if you wanted to use it on the client side as well, or a candidate from a candidate experience perspective, Do you kind of produce a lot of those videos as well?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, the way videos are going these days, the shorter the better. Yeah, and you know, a few years ago, I was still doing about us videos that were like 2-3 minutes long, and people switch off after you know 10-20 seconds if you don't really
Yeah.
grab them. So what we're doing nowadays is splitting up all these different elements into separate videos. So you know, a 50-second to 1 minute video that's directly about us with real succinct core messages throughout, really punchy phrases, a bit like an advert, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mixed with footage of the office, some stock footage or motion graphics, text on screen, the CEO on screen, you know, saying something amazing about the business, etc. And then you know, separate videos that could delve into the values. So our values video,
Yeah.
our mission video, our ethos video, whatever.
Yeah.
It's all about keeping these messages short and punchy, rather than it being one elongated video that covers everything, because people will get bored.
Yeah. They do get. And so if you were talking to, and kind of putting your business hat on to the side, but if you were talking to somebody about like producing their own videos, so
Yeah.
if I was saying to you, you know, Neil, I want to do some videos, but what do you think would be the first thing that you would invest in from a tech perspective? Like, is it the camera? Is it the sound? Like, what's kind of the basics that you would recommend?
Right, so it always depends on what your budget is. If you're really, really tight on budget, but if you do have a modern iPhone, you know, the up-to-date one, but the Pro Max version, so the lenses on these versions of the iPhone are, especially the 15, I think they're on now. It's really, 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 really good. And you can also get lavalier mics that will plug directly into it, so you can record better audio with a wireless mic or a cable mic that attaches to the person there. Lighting as well. Even though you'd be filming on a phone, you know, some semi okay lighting would be beneficial, I would imagine, and a tripod, of course, for the iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When you say lighting, and this was, I think, one of the questions that I asked was, you know, when it comes to lighting, I've seen everybody went out and bought them ring lights, didn't they? That was the first kind of
yeah.
thing. Is there a kind of a trick to lighting to kind of get the best angle or get the best kind of light?
Yeah. Well, there's always natural light.
Yeah,
Ideally, shooting natural light if possible, but you always got to keep an eye on where the light is at, because obviously it changes through the day with the movement of the sun. And then you just need to figure out, if I'm filming in my office, whereabouts the sun might be, and can I get, if the sun's out like it is today, the natural light coming through the window and shine on the person would be great. But if not, then lights probably are a must, I think.
yeah.
uh, I mean, there's lots of different ranges of lights as well. I hated those ring lights. I just, yeah.
Everyone went mad on them, didn't they?
Oh, I know. I
Like,
don't know why. But I mean, you can look on Amazon and you can pick up some budget lighting on there for sure, for sure.
yeah.
But you've also got to start thinking about color temperature as well with lighting. There's so many things you need to
Yeah.
start considering when doing all this, you know, that you need to remember. Yeah, and
I
anyway,
think one of the things that I was saying to you was, and it probably goes back to this, me thinking that I've got a giant face, like from today's first interview. But, you know, in terms of positions, so if you were filming, or say if somebody's filming themselves, it, like, what angle is best to have the camera at?
it depends how you want that shot to look. It's all right saying what angle do I have it at? First off, you need to make sure that the background of where you are is something fairly appealing. You know, I mean, what you've done there looks quite nice actually, with the green bushes, and then you've got, what are those behind you?
They're
What are
little
they? Oh, the
flowers.
little flowers. Yeah, see,
Yeah.
and they're just like plonked around. There's something nice about that. but you've really got to think about your backdrop and it's where you're going to be situated in that frame as well. So depends on the type of video you're doing as well. An about us video, you could be talking directly to the camera like that, looking right into the lens. Hi. Or you could be looking slightly off, as if doing it in like a interview style, you know, like you see on the news and stuff like that, where people are just looking slightly off the lens like that to the reporter, the interviewer, etc.
Yeah.
So we mix it up in what we do. It depends on the type of video. So it's about figuring out whether or not how you want it to come across when people are viewing it. Do you want people to see you directly looking?
Yeah. Are you addressing them directly, or is it more information being put across? Yeah. And I get that. And then, so I've made my video, and like prime example, last week's or the week before's webinar, there was a like a script thing recording, and it carried on, and I didn't realize I think it was a Firefly thing, note taking, and I hadn't pressed stop, and so there was an extra 20 minutes at the end of the video that was me eating my sandwich, and so I obviously needed to crop that. And I think because we put the videos on YouTube and host them on there privately, so I just used YouTube to crop it. Like, what if I was thinking about like editing? Is there like what would be the best tool that you would recommend for kind of editing stuff together?
Also depends on budget as well. I use the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite, and that's like a monthly subscription. I think it's about 50-60 pounds a month, something like that. There is a free software which you can download, which is called DaVinci Resolve. Now, it's the same kind of format as Premiere Pro, but it's not got as many. It's not as dynamic as Premiere Pro. The free version of DaVinci is not as dynamic as Adobe Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
But you will still be able to perform a lot of, basic tasks on this free version. It's apparently it's pretty good as a basic version. So for somebody on a budget, DaVinci Resolve, the free version. I think that there is a studio version of that, which is like about 300 quid for the year or something, or 300 for life, whatever. But and I am about to make the transition to the studio version of DaVinci Resolve because it's better for color grading, apparently.
Good to know.
Did that go straight over your head?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. But and this is why I'm not a video producer. So in terms of like, and this is veering off slightly. So if I had a budget, but I had to pick between like editing or videoing it myself and paying to have it professionally edited, or getting it videoed professionally and then trying to edit myself, what one would you pick?
That's just clever question. So well, I would suggest film it yourself with what you've got, and then send it to someone professional to look at, and they will be able to tell you whether or not you filmed it right in the first place. Because I think for any filmmaker, they wouldn't want to film something that they took pride and joy in and pass it on, and somebody makes a bit of a foobar with it in the edit. So it depends how skilled it depends how skilled you are. Your team member might be in editing. So.
Okay, so I know from experience of kind of working with you, Neil, that there's often quite logistical challenges when it comes to making recruitment videos. If they want the clients to be there on site, or kind of not having the space, or what are the kind of typical things that you experience?
Well, I think I touched on it earlier. Lengthy and unfocused content, really long-winded. dull stuff. Content that's, I mean, I think I see a lot of stuff where people are trying to make it look good by filming from 2 angles, and then it just cuts between the 2 angles, but we don't see anything else
In
because
between.
people's attention spans are ridiculously low these days, and you have to break it up with lots of different shots, referential shots of what they're talking about. For instance, you know, somebody's talking about AI or whatever, and so piece of stock footage that represents something AI,
Yeah.
etc. Flash up and then something else, and then cut back. Another thing that I always notice is poor production quality. So that's shaky camera work, which, yeah, just does my head in completely. Poor lighting, which we've touched on, and low quality audio. I mean, you can get all right audio off your iPhone plugged in, but for me, I've learned over the last 20 years, you know, through hit and miss about what works best and what is the best, and I will strive for the best. So, you know, a DAT recorder, digital audio recorder, as a separate that records in the highest quality of audio format, which is 24-bit WAV format, and then you get like the real beautiful, sweet sound.
Yeah.
Anything else? Yeah, I guess just look, for me, quality production reflects positively on any company's image, really.
Yeah. And in terms of the content, because I know obviously I've worked with you on quite a few where we've kind of jointly worked together to help come up with content ideas and then build them. Is that something that you tend to do, i.e. you would help produce content ideas for people, or you know, how does that kind of work?
We can do, yeah. We're always open to help create for anyone. A lot of the time, companies, you know, they know what they want. They know. Well, let's say that they know what they want, but they don't know what they want. But they know what they want. Yeah, but they know what they want to say, and so they want to take control of their messages, and that's fine. I can make suggestions and help tweak it on the day if need be, if they're open to that. And I always offer guidance in the edit as well.
Yeah, I think that is definitely worth saying, that when you are working with, because not just yourself, but I've worked with kind of a number of different video companies over the career that I've had in marketing, and the best ones like you will always kind of offer some input and advice, and you know, they'll talk to you about the ideas that you've got to try and ensure that you get the best out of it. They're not just going to come in and just film exactly, you know, like a robot, almost like what exactly you want, because they do understand and know what works best. And that advice is golden, and I always kind of take that on board, because I think you guys are doing this every day, whereas it's like probably once a year or an infrequent time between us kind of producing the videos.
Yeah.
Okay, we've covered off angles. In terms of trends, and so I know we mentioned that typically recruiters kind of go down the about us and the culture kind of as like some of the videos. I know definitely that a lot of them are doing kind of like candidate experience and client experience kind of type videos or style videos as well. Has there been any other kind of changes in what people are wanting or asking for or wanting? Are people asking more for videos produced just to use on socials or anything like that? Have you seen a trend around that at all?
Well, it's always been producing videos for socials over the last 10 years or so. I mean, in terms of trend, I'm not really sure I'm getting the question.
I'm just thinking whether there's any, you know, are people asking you for anything different over the last like year or so? I know you mentioned it's more short form now, and so you know, it's that kind of capturing people's data, and whereas before you probably would have, if we go back years ago, probably would have been a 10-minute about us video that had different sections around all of these things, and now it would be 10 short videos. But is there anything else, like, you know, are people kind of asking for more, I don't know, AI generated videos to be used within their videos, or are people asking for like less people in the video and more like adverts, like you mentioned? You know, if you look at how adverts have changed on TV over like the last 10 years, they're a lot more kind of attention grabbing, a lot more quick and to the point.
Yeah, exactly that. Short format, definitely, which is what I touched on earlier. Keep it to a minute and under, and they are becoming more like adverts. Like literally this year, I've been working with a couple of businesses, and they're about as videos are like 1 minute long or just under, and they're really, really punchy with like true text flying on screen and really fast-paced music and sound effects and lots of good visuals and cool stock footage as well. Yeah, it's a short form of the way forward, and for me, I like that, and I think it should be like that to make it look like an advert, because we watch adverts all the telly, don't we? And they're less than a minute, they're 30 seconds, you know, boom, 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 boom. And AI, I've not been asked for anything AI, but I'm anticipating it coming. I'm talking to a colleague of mine who's based overseas. He works a lot within generating AI content, and he's interested to maybe do some collaborating with me, but I've not been asked for it. But it is the scary prospect for a lot of us videographers and filmmakers that this technology is available right now, and or about to be. I know some apps that have just started floating up in the last couple of weeks with this new chat GPT technology that's called Sora, which was announced a few weeks ago. Ultimately, I mean, it's basically a text to video thing.
Wow.
I know, right? So for instance, you know, type in spaceman on the moon having a beer type thing, walking or jumping across the you know, the lunar dunes, and it'll create something for you. And I've seen some of the clips, and it does look quite astonishing. Yes, it's a little bit scary for people who want to create that kind of content for animators and stuff like that. But, and for me, I'm not 100% bothered about it, because it's never going to take away the authenticity that we get from, you know, doing a one-on-one piece to camera with a PEO from a recruitment business. And for me, I think the market will get saturated with all that stuff, but I do think there'll still be a market for authentic quality productions. I really do. You know, it's like the old thing about digital versus vinyl. Vinyl came back in a big way. And
are
CD...
you saying that just because you're a DJ at weekends?
That was one.
It is interesting, and we've talked nearly all the guests that we've had on AI has come up, and even just on the webinars we've done one specifically around like using AI to help with your social media and things. And we've got another one lined up actually for in about a month or so's time, all around like AI again. And even last week when James was on, we were talking about AI, and I definitely think it's something that's going to improve efficiencies, like you said, because we're in, like, within recruitment, it's such a people focused industry. You're never going to kind of take that away, but it is kind of looking at how it can kind of improve how effective and how efficient
it'll improve. For me as well, I'm looking forward to getting hold of this stuff, actually, because it'll be the best stock footage source that you can, you know, you want, oh, I want this, I want blah 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 CEO doing something or whatever, and then just type, it'll create something for you. You might have to tweak it, but yeah, it'll be a good stock footage source. I'm excited to use that.
I wonder if it'll be, do you remember AI can't do hands, can it? On a lot of the photo generating AI, that's where it struggled, is in the hands. And so I wonder if it will have that same...
Are you talking about the Kate Middleton thing there?
That was one of them that was coming to my mind,
Right.
But we've, you know, we've tested it internally here, We've had our designers looking at it as well, because we're really keen to embrace anything like that as a business and look at, like, you know, is this going to make us more efficient? How can we utilize it within the business? Which I would suspect anybody in marketing should be doing. And it definitely comes with restrictions. I've seen some really funny photos generated that you just think you could never use that. And also, like when you're producing content, it will become known. So like if I read a social update, I can within about the first second tell you if AI has produced it. You know, there's a million emojis in it, and it's peppered with.
It will get saturated, and I think people will eventually get bored of it. And you know, I think we're probably hardwired for that, just like that natural stuff. You know.
Yeah. In terms of kind of utilizing, so trying to get the maximum out of the video that you do produce. So say you've done this About Us video that's like a minute and a half long or whatever long it is. Would you recommend then producing kind of like short little clips of that to then use in other places? Is that kind of something that, you know, picking out like key kind of phrases or?
Yeah, well, it depends how long the video is, and it depends on what the content is, and it depends on the message that you want to put out. Yeah, of course, all stuff can be repurposed regardless of the size of it. And yes, it's better for socials and LinkedIn, just short and punchy messages. Like I said, adverts. You know, chopping down your content and repurposing it, like, again, which I've done for many clients. Gary Goldsmith mainly, but
cutting things up.
Yeah.
And in terms of kind of like resources, so say if somebody wants to learn how to do some editing or how to kind of set lights up and stuff like that, is there any resources that you'd recommend or places that people should go and sort of check out and view?
Yes, there's YouTube. They've got a creator academy. They offer free courses on various aspects of video production. Vimeo, they've got a video school. 1 second, somebody's just been ringing the phone. Right, and I think did I say LinkedIn? LinkedIn do, yeah, LinkedIn do a variety of video production courses on videography, video editing, and storytelling. I mean, and YouTube itself is just a plethora of info. If I still refer to it, if there's something that I come across, you know, I'm doing my editing, I'm like, oh, how can I do that? I'll just type it in a YouTube, and somebody somewhere will have made a video.
I know.
Yeah,
it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. So you never short of supply of info, and it will the same for whatever platform that you're using for editing.
Excellent. Anything else? Where do you see the future of all of this going?
Well, like I said in the last question, yeah, we're going to get a war of AI versus natural, I think. But I still think video content is the market leader right now. People, you know, they don't bother with reading much these days. It's all about viewing online, and it's growing year by year.
If you look at LinkedIn, I mean, we know because we see a lot of analytics around like engagement and just even impressions, not even engagement rates, but impressions of posts. Videos are definitely where they're investing or allowing further impressions of those posts. So it's something that you can see that they're backing it as like their main kind of preferred content type. So I definitely think from a marketing perspective, it's something that everybody needs to start giving a bit more thought to. And like I said, in an ideal world, obviously everybody would have the facilities to utilize someone like you to come in and do all of the content and come up with the videos. But like with a lot of things, it's perhaps looking at like where your budgets are and how to best utilize them. And starting small. But then equally, I think one thing James Burt said last week that I thought actually is so true is, you know, what you're putting out does represent your business. And
Absolutely.
so you need to ensure that the quality reflects your brand, because that is the message that they'll be taking away from that.
It is. I wouldn't want to, personally, I wouldn't want to go down the cheap budget route. If you want to do something really solid for your website, which is another thing that I always notice, lots and lots of businesses don't have video on their website.
Yeah.
Just have a website, and they probably spent, you know, £1,000, £2,000, £3,000 on a website, yet they don't invest, you know, less than that in some video content.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I think that's one of the, again, Google, if you look at like their algorithms, it now showcases the videos, doesn't it? So, you know, people need to get smart to more YouTube channels, utilizing that content, pushing people through to the YouTube channel. And then if you think about when you list that video of how you list it, like what the that then comes up in the search engines. So if you put the correct descriptions and you use the right meta tags and everything else, that will in turn help with your SEO. So, you know, exactly that we need the content, we need the video content to be able to kind of market it out properly.
And you know, putting more content, updating more content regularly on your website will in effect shoot you up the rankings.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, no brainer.
Okay. So just before we move to the Q&A, so reminder people, if you've got any questions, feel free to add them. Just want to say thank you, Neil, for letting me pick your brains for the last 40 minutes about video. And so just one last thing before we move to the Q&A questions, was just to say we have got some upcoming dates of webinars. So the next one that we're going to be doing, if Canva will open for me, will be in 2 weeks' time, and it's going to be about culture and value-led candidate attraction. So moving outside job descriptions and thinking about what the candidates of today want and what their experience should be. So we'll send obviously the details to that. We'll also send everybody a link to the video from today, and then there'll be a 5 key takeouts PDF on the back of the survey from today that will come into your inboxes too. From my perspective, as usual, if anybody wants to speak to me about like their marketing strategy, we'll include a link on the email. Both mine and Neil's contact details will be in there. Mine will have a link through that people can book a free strategy session with me. And then I think, Neil, you wanted to make or showcase an offer for the guys, didn't you, today?
Yeah, just in case that you're the people that are on it or viewing it after the fact, if you're scratching your head about which direction to go or what you want to do, I am doing a limited special offer on my services starting today. Seeing it's spring, first day of spring, it feels like it. Launch it today. So what that offer is, it's 50% off my normal day rate of filming. That's 50% off the filming day rate, which is quite a bit. And the editing cost is still the same, but I'm also gonna waiver the usual surcharge I charge for the use of the stock footage that I get from a website that I subscribe to, and likewise for the royalty-free music. So I'm going to waiver that fee as well. So all you're going to pay for is like the half price day rate. There'll be expenses on top of that if I'm traveling down to wherever. And then there's the editing cost on top.
Brilliant. Sounds good.
So hit me up, guys.
Yeah. So like I said, I'll include Neil's information in there when we send the email round to everybody. Okay, the Q&A is empty. Neil, you must have answered all of everybody's questions, or I have written them out very well.
Okay.
Shows my mind is in tune. So I guess we'll say thank you once again, Neil, for taking part in today and let me pick your brains about video. I'm now going to be looking at my lights in here and playing around with them. Now I've learned not to, look, I'm doing it again, aren't I? Now I've not learned not to be the giant head. Next thing will be sound and lighting. But yes, thank you once again for taking part, and we'll
problem.
see you guys at the next webinar.
All right. Thanks for having me, Katie.
No
Cheers.
worries.
Nice.
Take
Cheers.
care. Bye.
Bye.